And we are live, or as live as we can be when we're doing a Zoom recording. I am absolutely delighted this evening to have with me Micheal Green and Keith Tuman, and I'm going to ask both of them to tell me a little bit about themselves once we get into this. But just as a quick reminder of what this is all about, this is simply a very straightforward and simple way for us to have a business conversation which is focused on micro enterprises and small businesses. And we're using the MI Business Info Guide as a template for the topics that we're going to discuss. So it's not necessarily that anybody's coming on here as an expert, but it's more that small business people or people who are interested in small businesses are getting together for the opportunity just to have a conversation around topics that apply to all of us. And tonight's topic, Matthew, isn't that what you called the guy? There used to be the game show, Matthew. Tonight's topic is business names and what we think of business names and issues pertaining to that. And to start off, I'm going to ask, before we get into the topic itself, I'm going to ask the guys to tell us a little bit more about themselves. So Micheal, if we can start with you, can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm currently a project manager at Citibank, and I've always been looking at setting up companies and how complex it was, and things like this. And so when you invited me tonight, I was like, yeah, I'd love to know more about this, and I'd like to set up my own company in the future.
You have an interest in business. Is it small business, big business, everything in between?
I used to run a licensed fund administration company in the Isle of Man, and it was very interesting. It was really good. It was best best thing I ever had. So I'd like to look at doing that in the future again. So when you invited me and mentioned that this is something I'd be interested in hearing about, because a good name is hard to come by.
Very good. The Isle of Man. That's interesting. Apparently, the Isle of Man is the place for accountants to be. I have been told in the past that there's an awful lot of accountants there. Did you find that when you're in? Did you notice a lot of accountants running about?
Yeah, there is in that CSP, TSP, so corporate service providers and trust service providers. So a lot of accountants have moved into that, and it can be like a one-shop stop. So someone like yourself would partner up with a lawyer, and then they could cover everything, and then they could set limited companies up for people. So it's not like Bermuda where there's gold-plated offices and stuff like that. There, the average Manx person can only be like director of 100 companies or something. It's not like 1,000. So, but yeah, it's a popular place for accountants because there's only 10% corporation tax on banks and rental companies. I think even insurance companies are that. So a lot of people do set up there.
Yeah.
But your company may pay 0% corporation tax, but at the end of the day, you still got to get the money back into the UK. So that's where the thing. But yes, it is a place to set up, and they can set you up companies quite quick, and it's quite a business-friendly jurisdiction. But we found UK's company house are really easy to deal with. We submit stuff, company's house and revenue are linked, so we find it really useful in the UK. Quite business-friendly.
That's very interesting now, because it's literally, you can see the Isle of Man from Newcastle. I've never actually been there myself, but it's somewhere I would love to go. Anywho, that's an interesting insight to Micheal Green, and we'll come back to you very shortly. Keith, if you're ready, tell us, if I can get you unmuted. The technology may not be allowing me to unmute. Yes.
Yep,
okay.
I'm here.
Right.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about the man who is Keith Tuman.
So my name is Keith. I currently live over in Scotland. I'm originally from Northern Ireland. I don't even know what I would call myself now at this stage. Entrepreneur, I guess, is the flexible term. Like, just where you have so many ideas that you're trying most of them. I would say probably I've met a lot of people from yourself and James, who've also been very useful in the knowledge sharing. And then I've partnered up with people like Micheal here to learn even more experience. So yeah, I moved over here about 5 years ago for education, and then I've stayed here for the money as time has went on. So I'm currently in IT, in project management. So any of that kind of stuff I can deal with. Yeah, but I could turn my hand to anything, like building a website the whole way through to marketing, apparently.
Yeah, I could have used your help last night when I crashed my email server, but sure, well, I'll know for next time. I'll know for next time.
Exactly. No,
Okay,
perfect. I'll put
guys.
this on mute again.
Thanks very much for the introduction, guys. It's always good. One of the really interesting things about doing this recording for sharing Zoom meetings is that you get an insight in people and you get to have a type of conversation that sometimes you wouldn't have if you're just speaking face to face, because it creates a different sort of vibe. So thank you guys for sharing that, for telling us a little bit more about yourselves. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get into the meat of what it is that we're meeting about tonight. And I will be looking at I will be sharing the NI Business Info website. Now I'm not sure if you two guys can see the screen that I have shared. You can, it's Michael can you see it, Keith? Thumbs up. Oh, brilliant, you can see it. So I'm simply going to do some reading out loud. And I'm going to read through this, and at a point I'm going to stop and I'm going to come back to you guys and ask you for your thoughts on particular aspects of what it says on the NI Business website. So when you're thinking about starting a business, one of the things that you definitely have to do is choose a name, a way of identifying and branding your business. So this resource talks about how you choose the right name for your business. Choosing a business name to create the right impression. When generating ideas about a business name, you may initially focus on personal preference. However, an objective approach will enable you to consider the customer first. Your business name will be the cornerstone of your brand. It is something that you have to get right to create the right impression for potential customers and to market your business. And there's a link in there about branding, but we'll not go into that right now. We'll maybe come back to it. Points to help you decide on a name for your business. When choosing a name for your business, you need to ask, do you want the name to reflect what your business does? Moving, cleaning, building? Or would something more abstract be suitable? Would it be a good idea to include your own name? Do you want a traditional sounding name conveying durability and old-fashioned values, or a modern name suggesting a fresh, innovative approach? Note, there are rules that could affect your choice of business name. For more information on business names, you can see rules for naming your business, and that's another link which we may come back to. And Companies House also provides an overview of controls and restrictions when choosing a company name. The National Register provides data on over 10 million UK businesses. I didn't even think there was 10 million UK businesses, companies, trademarks, and brands to help you research and choose the right name for your business. Okay, on that point, I am going to come back to you guys. And first of all, Michael, I will pick on you. Do you have any particular thoughts on what people should be considering when naming their business?
No, it's a good question. We may keep differing this somewhat, but yeah, I procrastinated. First time I set up, I wanted to call myself Ego Fund Accounting, and I had plans for world domination. And then when I looked at it, someone had already called themselves that name. And I needed to get my license into the Isle of Man regulator, and I didn't want to waste time, even though it took a year to get the license. I set it up just called Dara. So I went to school in Dara Cross, and it means Irish folk. I think people, if you can have a name that's catchy and it's brilliant, I'd love that. But I think it's something that doesn't matter as much, as long as it's not crazy. We've had some interesting people come to us with some interesting names that I won't say on this, but I think it's more important that you have a good website and that you set up personally. I would not procrastinate like I did again if I had to. I think people spend too long thinking about the name. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Keith, if I can unmute you again. What do you think?
Yeah, perfect. Can you hear me all right? Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. I think it depends on the company. Depends if you want to be traditional or if you want to be a brand. It totally depends on the type of company you're dealing with. So professional services and stuff like that, usually it's a person's surname along with whatever company. That's a very traditional way of doing something that's naturally shown as professional and the brand itself. So it saves you half the energy of marketing and brand. And the other one then would be like technology companies can call themselves absolutely anything. And you could literally get around anything as long as you brand it the correct way. So it seems to be, no one would ever thought of calling their company Google, but I mean, at the end of the day, they've turned it into a worldwide firm that's that as soon as you see the logo, like that's the only thing they have on their page. You know what it is. So you could literally call your company anything. I do think if it's like a small company or whatever, the more catchy the name is, the better. So if it's a hairdressers or something like that, it's definitely something to do with the actual name itself. You see a lot of them in Belfast, like Curl Up and Dry and stuff like that. They're always very catchy.
Yeah.
So yeah, them kind of things are very good. But no, I think it's half the brand. It should be short, so the name should be memorable and short. And that then equals the website as well, because that means then you can remember the website name.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it depends. I think you really have to look at the situation you're in, but names are important. I suppose there's one of the things is with the first impression that you make. And first impressions are important because people in the world have so much information coming at them. They have filters called biases to help them sort out all the information and see what's important. So as we're sitting here at the moment, guys, you may not have even thought about whether your feet are warm or cold because you're not thinking about your feet, you're thinking about the conversation, or you may not think about what's happening behind you because you're thinking about what's actually happening on the screen. There's so much information comes at us all the time that we can't possibly be on top of it all. So what actually happens is your mind sets up biases, personal biases based upon your own experiences in life. And those biases will be triggered by certain things. So if you see a skinhead, your bias, somebody with the boots and the t-shirt and the ring through the nose, your bias may set them as a threat. And you may be very, very cautious of them. If you see a baby lamb, your biases may go, oh, isn't that cute? And it gives you a warm and fluffy feeling. Sometimes business names can do that as well. And I'm going to tell one story, and then I'll be interested on your thoughts in regard to this. And that is the story in relation to McDonald's, the burger company. And there was a great film, or at least I thought it was a good film, made about how McDonald's came about, how it became to be the multinational company it is. Sorry?
The founder.
The founder. Have you seen it, Michael?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. Now, I took quite a bit away from that film, and I may have got this bit wrong, and this is a good opportunity for me to see if I have picked up on this right. So the guy, the founder, do you remember what the founder's name was?
Is it Randy something? He's in all the McDonald's. I mean, when you work in McDonald's, if you're a student, right, his name down there, and he writes all the Bibles. His name is still quoted like God in McDonald's. I can't remember what it is. Is it Randy something? I'll Google it now. It's got me curious.
So that guy wasn't actually the guy that came up with the idea for the McDonald's model. It was two brothers that were working together. They'd come up with this idea that you could produce hamburgers, tasty hamburgers very quickly and sell them quickly and have drive-thrus and all this type of stuff. And he just happened to come across them when he was selling ice cream machines. Up until that point in his life, he hadn't really been particularly successful. But he came across these guys, and whatever happened when he came into that organization, he just found his space. He found his place. He found his opportunity that went on to change his life. But part of the journey was that he realized at one time, at some stage through working with the two brothers that originally came up with the idea, that they were holding him back. He felt that he could make a better go of McDonald's without the two brothers that had originally set it up. Yeah. And he could have just gone and started completely by himself a new business with a new name. But what he fundamentally believed was that it was the brand McDonald's, the name McDonald's in which the value was contained in the idea. Yes, he could go and do this exact same business model somewhere else, but he couldn't do it without the McDonald's name. And he ended up paying the two brothers, I think was it $4 million, Michael, do you remember? Was it 2 million or 4 million?
Yeah, it was Ray Kroc. It was Ray Kroc.
Ray Kroc.
You say he pays him $4.5 million. I'd put it more cleverly that he that he sort of cons to go.
Yeah, he cons them.
They were more interested in making burgers, like a burger that you could replicate all over the world. So if you know yourself, if you're not interested in, if you're very risk adverse when it comes to food, if you get a McDonald's in Bangkok, it's going to be the same as McDonald's in Belfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might get rice instead of fries or something. But listen, it's a how do you say, an easy reproduction. It's a model that you can replicate anywhere in the world. But Ray actually looked at the business. He wasn't into making burgers. He seen it as property, and that they had good locations in key areas. So he's seen the business totally different than the two brothers.
That's right. Now you're improving on my memory of what the film was about. But one of the
marketing, the name is very catchy. If you even think about McDonald's, you go there, you're a kid, you remember having a Happy Meal there, Happy Times. It's it's world-class branding. Yeah,
and I think one of the fundamental things about the name McDonald's, and he sort of describes, or it was described in the film by the actor that was playing Ray Kroc, and he described it as the name McDonald's is the thing that had the energy that he wanted to hold on to, the bite. It had a warm, strong, stable sorting name, and he felt the name was very important. So it goes to show that names, and in particular business names, can be incredibly important because they set up what people expect when they're coming on down the line, even by that very first instant bias. I'll give you my personal experience of this is with our practice name, Gilchrist Co Accountants. Now, very often what people just hear is the Gilchrist Co. They don't get the accountants. And there's been many a time that people have come to me and they said, I always thought Gilchrist Co was the solicitors. Now, I'm not sure why that is, but I suppose if I think about it, it does sound like a professional sounding name for a professional practice. But why someone would assume solicitors rather than accountants or architects or anything else, I don't know. But I do know that that's happened on more than one occasion. So
subconscious bias.
Bias.
Here's a question. If you were going to do it again, would you change your name?
No. And I think the reason for that is that our practice is all about our personal brand. It's a small practice with 300 clients. And the whole essence of our practice is that you're working with either me, Micheal, and in the future, James, as my son, as he joins the practice. Therefore, when you buy into Gilchrist & Co, you're buying into the practice. So I think we were just lucky.
That was good.
Yeah, our name worked out for us in the career that we'd actually decided to do. Guys, I can't believe it. But our 40 minutes, there's only like 2 minutes left. That's how quickly time flies. And the free version of Zoom only gives us 40 minutes. And that's probably a good thing as well, because otherwise we'd waffle on far too long. Keith, I'm going to give you, do you have a quick final comment that you want to make before we finish up this evening? And I will try to unmute you to do that.
Sure. No, thanks very much for inviting us, Martin. It's been good fun here tonight. Hopefully there's more of these to come, is there?
There will be. What I'm hoping is that we will do them every Monday night at 8 o'clock until such a time as I run out of steam or we run out of topics or nobody's showing any interest whatsoever. I would like to say thank you very much, guys. It has been fun, which is the main thing. I hope you enjoyed it, Michael.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant, and thank you for sort of digressing here, but I love your COVID posts, and it helps employers out, and I've actually forwarded it on to a few friends that got small businesses. So stuff like that is really helpful in these stages where people don't know what's going on, people don't know about the future, cash flow is king. So stuff like that you're posting, people can get on quick links, is really helpful.
And finally, just to give a quick shout out to James Perry, who I had hoped was going to join us this evening, but technology got in the way, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't James's fault. I imagine I've probably done something wrong at my end here, that meant he couldn't join us. But I hope over time, as I practice these, I will get better at them. I look forward to having both of you guys on again at some stage in the future, because there's a huge amount of knowledge. If you think about the knowledge and expertise that you guys have, particularly in the tech and entrepreneurial sectors, I'm sure there's an awful lot more that you would have to share. In the last 30 seconds, literally, we're talking about a one-word answer. Keith, if you were to come back on again, what would be your preference to have the conversation about?
Probably marketing.
Marketing. And Michael?
Marketing's a good one, but I would just look at the steps for someone setting up a limited company. Because most people procrastinate and don't do it, and they think it's very complex. And if we could just show how easy it is actually to set up a limited company.
Okay, two very good subjects. And on that note, we're literally going to run out of time, so I'm going to stop the recording. Don't go away, guys. I'll still be here after the recording stops. But thank you, everybody that's watched, and I look forward to catching up with everybody soon.